Hello guys, my name's Luke Mead, and today in this video I'm going to be walking you through 5 tips to have a successful webinar. Let's get straight into it. Tip number 1 is to always have great audio, and the way you can do that is by using a professional mic like I have here. It costs about $100 off of Amazon, and it's absolutely brilliant. In comparison to using your standard desktop or PC one, it is going to make your life so much better and make your audio so much clearer for your participants, and audio is half of the experience of the webinar. So the way we want to do that is we want to make sure we go to the preferences in our webinar software of choice. We want to head to the audio area and we want to make sure we're using the right microphone. In this case, I'm using my USB microphone device, which this is. Yours will most likely be using a built-in microphone, which won't be nearly as good. So I really recommend you invest in getting a proper microphone, because this is going to make your life so much easier and make it a lot easier for your audience to hear what you're saying and be clearer. And that's super important if you want the audience to walk away with a great understanding of what you're talking about in your webinar. If they can hear you more clearly, they're going to understand what you're talking about. And no one wants to spend an hour listening to some person's rattly voice through a terrible microphone. Spend the $100 from Amazon and invest yourself in a good microphone. You use it all the time. Trust me, I use mine all the time. Tip number 2 is to use your chat inside your webinar. So most webinars will have a chat feature like Zoom does. You can simply click on that and type your message here and send it to the group for everyone to see. I recommend you use this because people are often too scared to speak up during a webinar, and encouraging people to type their answers in and their questions in is much easier for them and will get much better engagement. And the exciting thing is when people start to type answers and questions into the chat and you start to engage with them, then this might encourage them to actually talk more and speak up. So you've really got to ease people into your webinars, and using the chat feature is the best way possible, because they slowly start talking in there to eventually they might speak up on your webinar. And this is how you create discussions. You've really got to ease people into it and engage them. So really recommend using the chat feature and having it up all the time while you're presenting, because it will save your life as people send in questions and give you things to talk about. I highly recommend this feature. Tip number 3 is to keep your slides as simple as possible. I'm going to quickly show you some of my slides. You can see they are super simple and easy. The point of these slides is you don't want to overload people with information. You simply want to drive home 1 or 2 points in each slide and make it memorable. So I always recommend having one kind of key point per slide and almost highlighting that in a color. You can see in the case of this slide here, I've got my question and my answer on the same slide. I'm trying to get people to understand this point, and that is the point of the slide. I don't need to have endless crossover here of other, articles, information and photos. Just keep it super simple. Even simple photos helps as well. Likewise here, I've kept it even simpler, no photos, and having the main point summarized in green down here, reaching the people you know are important. So really keep your slides simple and easy to understand, because you don't have to have people spending minutes scrolling through trying to understand what is on each slide, especially if they're trying to take in the information you're telling them verbally and the information visually on the slide. It makes it really, really hard to do. You essentially want the visual material to complement your verbal material, and if you can have that happen, then you're on path for success with your webinar slides and content. Tip number 4 is to always record your webinars. You can do that down here in your Zoom setting, or any other webinar settings will most likely have this. Hit record and simply do this, and you'll see right now it's currently recording. You can see that on the top left, and you can always stop the recording or pause the recording. So the reason you want to do this is, 1, to supply to your audience, so afterwards they can go back through and watch the webinar and get more information out of it if they missed anything. And 2, for yourself, you want to go back through and listen to yourself. Did you speak clearly? Did people respond to this part? What was the most exciting parts of the webinar? What got people engaged? You want to have a look through your own webinar and be self-critical. Unfortunately, that is the only way we grow as humans and get better. So really lean into it and use this feature to power yourself to learn more and get better at webinars. This is one of the best tips you can ever have. So once your Zoom or any of your webinars is finished, this will stop recording and save as an MP4 file on your desktop or whatever computer you're using to run it. So it's super easy to do. I highly recommend you guys do this. It doesn't hurt at all. Tip number 5 is to make sure that you always keep your audience engaged, and the best way to do that is make sure you know how to screen share. So in Zoom, it's super easy. Hit share screen and select the screen you want to share. In this case, it will be a presentation, and hit share. And now people will be seeing this screen. It's super important that you share your screen in webinars because this keeps it engaging and shows people what you're doing. You don't want people looking at your face the entire time during the webinar. So really make sure when you're going through the webinar and covering your content that you keep people engaged and let them follow along with what you're doing, and sharing your screen is the best way to do that. You can even share your phone screen as well by plugging your phone in via cable. This is really powerful if you have stuff on your phone which you want to share, or you need to highlight something. You might want to show off your social media on your phone, like your TikTok, or on platforms that are natively suited to your phone. So this is a really powerful feature to show as well. So keep in mind, just use the screen share function because it is super handy and will keep your audience engaged. So get comfortable switching backwards and forwards between everything and exiting out, because it will make your life easier when you're freaking out during a webinar and you want to nail it. So practice it early and you'll be fine. I hope you guys enjoyed these tips. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day. Ciao, ciao.